brain repair cells or make new ones after injury is crucial to the treatment of patients who suffer head trauma. That can include anything from a concussion to more serious injury. In many cases of severe head injury, the brain has been so damaged that at first, hope for recovery is grim. This is a picture of a brain that suffered head trauma, and you can see these darkened areas here reflect the fact that there's been trauma to the brain, and when that happens, you actually kill parts of the brain. Recovery depends on how well the brain can build or create new connections called axons. But the brain has remarkable plasticity, which enhances its healing powers. But for the patient, it takes time and an incredible will. In the next story, our father is just beginning on the long road back from near death.
We're only going to do one per row, and I'm going to ask you a question, okay? You forgot to tell me what?
I forgot to tell you about the visitors you had.
About the what?
The visitors you had.
Good.
My name is Rick Friedman.
And down. Beautiful, Rick. I'm going to give you a little leeway on your knee.
I'm 42 years old.
And forward, and drop.
I'm a financial consultant.
On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
I have 3 boys.
That was a good one.
We were out for a family bike ride.
Please stretch out your hand for a little bit.
Sure. And I went through a stop sign very close to our house, about a block away, and I got hit by a car. I know very little else about what happened to me, because I was in intensive care for about 5 weeks before I went to the Rehabilitation Institute.
I first met him about 2 months ago. At the time that I met him, he was very, very low level. What we call a Rancho Los Amigos of 2. The Rancho Los Amigos scale is a cognitive scale. It goes from 1 to 10. 1, you're in a coma. 10, you're reintegrated back into the workplace. And he was a 2. Mr. Friedman came as close to death as you could possibly come without actually dying. There are 2 people that for sure saved his life. One was the neurosurgeon that operated on him, and the surgery was very, very complicated. The other person was his mother. His mother had to say yes to the neurosurgeon, for the neurosurgeon to take out part of Mr. Friedman's brain in order to save his life.
The surgeon performed what's called a craniotomy. He removed part of the skull to release pressure on the swollen brain. But the inflammation was too much, so the next measure was to remove part of the brain. In Rick Friedman's case, the right temporal lobe was the most damaged. Removing a part of it saved his life.
All right, skiers pose and up and tall. Let's get your bearings first. Finishing touches on top.
The temporal lobe manages the motor skills for the left side of the body. Rick is left-handed. He'll most likely have to learn to write with his right hand, and he may always struggle to walk.
Taller through the hip. There you go, Rick. Drop, kick.
But overall, his progress is remarkable. The brain is slowly healing itself.
Ooh, that was a nice big step.
If we're looking at brain cells, say these 5 or 10 brain cells that are hooked up together like this, that's the normal anatomy or the normal physiology. After a brain injury, what could happen is you could have a shearing effect, in essence, this, and then a repair mechanism. So you see that 2 of the fingers or 2 of the nerve cells are still connected. 1 is connected incorrectly, and then the other 2 are not connected at all. Now, even though it heals itself, it might do so in an unorganized or disorganized manner, which doesn't translate into function.
Try not to get your weight going forward before. See right here, your weight's a little too far forward.
Okay.
Occupational, speech, and physical therapy speed up the brain's ability to relearn what it used to know. The rest of the credit might be considered separate from the physical brain and more directly related to Rick's spirit.
He will probably be walking with a cane relatively soon, hopefully with less help from me. I won't have to do as much work. But he's really gonna go far because he has that drive in him.
The t-shirt or the sweatshirt that he's wearing today, it says 110%. That's actually an understatement on his part. I think you actually do more than 110%. You know, I think you do 150%.
Well, thanks.
I think that He tries really hard. His family tries really, really hard.
The support of my family is really great, and friends, but family is what I care about most.
It's been difficult for all of us. We see it as a journey, the boys and I do. We didn't ask to go on this journey, but once we started, the moment of the accident, we knew we had to go and that he was leading us.
Rick's journey may seem long now, but it's filled with the promise of success.
Mr. Friedman has surprised me in all his recovery. He is one of those people that do not match the textbooks, which means that we need to go back and do research and rewrite the textbooks. In specific to Mr. Friedman, his speech has improved tremendously to the point where he can tell jokes, and the jokes are very, very appropriate. You have any new jokes for me?
Yes. There's a guy who buys a woman a couple drinks in a bar.
And I suspect that Mr. Friedman is going to continue to improve.
And skiers pose.
And improve he did.
Forward.
3 months later, Rick's progress allows him to manage old routines by himself. It has also added more quality to Rick's and his family's lives, especially when it comes to getting around.
I've gotten a lot better with stairs. I usually walk up the stairs into this house, but also able to go to other people's houses that have stairs.
Although grateful for his improvements, Rick remains focused on what lies ahead.
Every night I'm a little hopeful that the next day will be a little better.
To up the odds for a full recovery, Rick still wagers 150% effort each day. Next, find out how an amazing new surgery may reverse epileptic seizures forever. And how can you keep your brain young and fit? The answer may surprise you.
A lot of people are really embarrassed by daydreaming, but they shouldn't be. It's one of the best ways of building flexibility in your brain.